start with Om first.
No, relax. Okay. All right. I think we're all set. This is the 3, 2, 1, action. Good evening, everyone, and welcome to the One&AHalfIndians podcast. This can be episode 1 of the podcast. I'm joined today by my father.
Hi there. Go ahead.
Okay. So, we're not sure how we're going to tackle the podcast. It could be something that we write down beforehand so we have something to go off, or it could be completely natural. I kind of like having topics. Not that it's like written out beforehand, but if we have topics, I think we can stay in a reasonable realm of an interesting podcast as opposed to like kind of jumping everywhere. So what I have written down so far is we're going to do a quick introduction about who we are as people, and I'll let my father take it away.
By the way, you have to tell them why it's the 1.5 Indian. We got why it's 1.5 Indian, man.
So my dad's obviously Indian, and then I'm half Indian. My mother's from El Salvador, so I'm half Indian, half Latino. So that's where we got the name.
Yeah, it's one makes 1.5 Indian. Okay.
So he's one, I'm half.
Okay, good. Okay, so let's talk about the topics.
So I'd like to hear the introduction. I'd like to hear a little bit about yourself, and I'm sure they would like to hear it too.
Starting with my introduction, well, I came to the United States in 1988. I've been here for the last 28 years now.
Okay.
Earlier part of my life, which is 23 years, I was in India, so I grew up in India, in a small village in Punjab. First 21 years of my life, then I moved to New Delhi, which is the capital in India, and then from there onwards my journey began in the United States, and met my wife about 27 years ago, I would say, and
89.
So he's a product. He's one of the product actually.
Well, byproduct of a relationship.
What do they call it? Byproduct? No,
Yeah.
it's often. Oh, married life product. Okay.
Yeah.
All right. So,
That is me.
and this young man, you want to
so-
disclose your age, or is this something you?
I'm a young adult. Immature in some ways, mature in others. So my name is actually Kiran. He's Karan. His middle name is my name to make it even more difficult to try to remember. But I was obviously born and raised in California. We're actually from California. In Southern California, Los Angeles to be the most precise we should be. I was born and raised in like a hard-working family. When we were younger, nothing came easy. My family worked very hard for whatever we have now. I'm a lazy product of that, but you know, they did all the hard work. Yeah, that's what we do. Oh yeah, my parents are definitely not retired. They're into their I said they're definitely not retired.
Anyway, so I just want to stop you right there because you said our names in a very kind of Americanized, confused, Desi, way. Kiran and Karan. Can you please tell me? It's actually Kiran. Kiran Veer.
Kiran Veer.
So you're Kiran Veer.
My name is Kiran Veer.
Not Veer. Not
Veer.
Veer.
Veer, like beer.
No,
Veer.
it's not Veer. Don't mess your name up, man.
I love my
There's
name.
There's a reason I put your name. There's a reason, okay? Kiran Veer. Kiran Veer. You know what the Veer means, right?
Yes. It's courage.
It's courageous.
Courageous.
Okay.
There you go. I know my own name.
So Karan is a mythological character in
His name is actually
Hindu.
Prabhat.
Well, yeah, but I go by Karan
And
too.
my actual Indian last name is Razdan. That's not true. That's just a mythical. My grandfather says that. We don't know if that's true.
Yeah, but Raina Razdan is the same. Okay,
Really?
but
Really?
We're from the Kashmiri descent.
Okay.
Kashmiri Hindu Pandit descent, whatever, Brahmin
I
descent.
actually don't know what Pandit is. I know what Brahmin is, all that other stuff. Punjabi, Kashmiri, but I'm not. What is a Pandit? What is that?
Well, Pandit can be anything. Can be the person who knows, he's spiritually and socially and, educationist. Oh, I mean, mixture of a lot of things. So it can be anything. But Pandit in so-called social structure in Kashmir is considered, one of the sect, one of the
classes, the
Yeah,
ranks.
class.
What is it? What is it? Caste.
Well, not even caste, but
Just
caste.
a class.
Yeah.
It's more class than caste.
Caste
Okay.
actually was caste. There was no casteism in India
Really?
until the 18th century.
Oh, when Britain
British
invaded. Makes sense. Okay.
John Risley actually came with the casteism. Actually, there's
So,
no caste.
Is the caste
We used to call Varna.
Varna?
Varna. In the Manusmriti, one of the
Varna.
Hindu old scriptures have divided into four different society divided into four different Varnas, which is Brahman, Kshatriya, Vaishya, and Shudra. They all have different things to perform while for the society to move forward. But we'll go someday in detail about it. But let's talk about what we'll be talking about this week.
Okay, so actually we're already gonna go quick into it. So it's actually a Hindu scholar, learned in Sanskrit and Hindu philosophy and religion, typically also a practicing priest. It is true, my grandfather was a priest from what I understand, right?
Great grandfather, yes, exactly. Good.
Fact check, and we gotta,
Good.
we
good
have
job.
these things for a reason, we gotta make sure we fact check, okay?
Good.
But anyways, I'm very interested, I'm intrigued by the culture. Obviously, as I've grown a little more mature in myself, when you're a kid and you grow up in like an American society, it's very easy to lose your culture, to lose yourself, lose your roots. And then, so, as a kid, I tried as hard as I could to not be Indian, it seemed. Just so I could fit in and, bullying was like a real thing. But as I grew older, I grew a big love for my culture, I grew a passion for it, and it's just who made me what I am and what my parents are, both from the Hispanic and the Indian background. And for that reason, like I said, as I grew older, I grew a very new passion for my culture. So during this podcast with you folks, we're not really like trying to hit a certain niche group of people. We'd like this to work for everyone, any cultured person or any person that comes from a culture, or maybe even if you're born, raised here, your 5th, 6th generation, or whatever the case may be, we'd like for everyone to be able to find a home in this podcast.
Yeah, so just want to add in this podcast is actually kind of evolving and making sure that every, whatever we touch upon, it's just an idea to do the discussion, have the conversation.
Discussion starter.
Have the conversation. We learn from each other. We want to seek ideas. We want to seek
seekers.
Yes,
That's what my father says all the time.
we gotta keep seeking the real truth about anything and everything. So that's why it's a very open arena. It's a very open architecture. So anything you talk about, from movies to cricket to soccer to love to compassion. To restaurant, actually, I like to talk about restaurant and food. Oh my God, I'm a foodie. I love food.
Big foodie, loves wine. Food.
Wines from spirituality.
This will be a very
Hinduism.
open. It's a very open podcast.
Yeah.
One of the things we did talk about previously is what we like to do is it's very open. We like for it to be comical in senses and serious in others, but it'll be for you guys to explore with us through this journey, obviously. But for today's question, I did want to know, is the Indian caste system still a real thing to this day? Being that you're
Yes.
just there,
Well,
and you have a lot of family, obviously.
I've always, been very critical about saying caste system. Although lately I've been very critical about it because
the Varna
yeah,
system.
it's supposed to be Varna. Reason we've been colonized for a number of years. First was over 1,000 years under Islamic kings, with the Mughal Empire ruled India for several hundred years. Then after that, we've been ruled over 300 years with the British rule, and so the mindset is very colonized. So we. When we don't resist anything, we become colonized. When we start questioning and don't force ourselves into other people's theory, ideas, and their value system, then we become colonized. So to put it short, like yes, caste system existed in India. It's not that evident in the bigger cities, although it's part of the culture, and though in interiors in India, and it's still very common people to marry or do all the social, the bondage with their own people. What's the next question? You want to elaborate?
Yeah, I have actually not been to India since I was a very young lad. I was pretty young at the time. I think we went when I was 10 years old. Well,
Yeah.
I was over a decade ago, literally. We went in 2005, so it's been more than a decade. But I mean, depending on the areas we were in, even then, 10 years ago, is actually seems like forever ago now. But even when we went, you could see the difference, like you said, difference going from city to city. I mean, if you're in New Delhi, you didn't really feel everybody kind of was. So it was like a melting pot. Like everybody was. I mean, you could see it was feasible to see a hierarchy government type person eating at the same establishment, maybe like a waiter or a housekeeper person would eat at. It wouldn't seem crazy to think you could see them in the same location.
Yeah.
More so. Yeah, more so than when we went to the villages. There was definitely
status.
Status. There we go.
Yeah.
These families not with these families, whatever. But yeah, that's something a lot of people are actually not even aware of. They've never heard of the Varnas.
Yeah, see, that's actually the Western civilization, specifically Western societies, when most of the time. Are we actually? I'm not looking into the camera. Is that okay?
Yeah, it's okay.
Are you looking at the camera?
Sometimes I look at the camera.
So should I look at the camera? I didn't even look at the camera at all.
It's okay. I mean, you're talking to me, right?
We're recording right now?
Yeah, but I can edit all of this out, obviously.
Well, anyway, we're back, right?
Yeah. So obviously we're gonna unfortunately have to edit a clip out there, but we were talking about the Varnas, but
Yeah.
I think we've reached the good point of that. We understand it, but
No, actually, I'm sorry. Actually, it's a very valid question you asked, and absolutely, our viewers gonna agree with me, because there's young kids who growing up in all the Western countries, maybe Australia, England, Canada, North America, whatever it may be.
Is the
Because
UK?
yeah, I mean it's
The UK is West.
Western civilization.
Really?
Yeah, of course. So I mean, I'm sure they've been asked in school and colleges, why this caste system, why people have untouchables and all those things. So this is the stigma we have to carry, and we have to answer and tackle that questions in a very informative way that explain them what we're talking about. Yes. There's a Varna system, right? Actually, you go online, you can say why the Varna is there. So in Manu Smriti, when Rishi Manu, he came up with the idea how to run the society in such a fluid manner that such a great way that it can be a perfect synchronized society where everybody live very happily and people have so-called Ram Rajya, if you can stand with people who are watching from, our part of the world. What I'm talking about with Ram Rajya means the perfect, structure of, having the kingdom or society in general.
Well, you were right. I fact-checked you.
Mm-hmm.
And England, the UK is considered to be a Western country. You are right.
Good. Okay, please fact check, because I could be wrong sometime, and I need to be.
I'm going to be doing a lot of fact checking in this entire
because
podcast.
I don't want to have a wrong information out.
Yeah.
And
I
want to be correct.
We don't want to look like clowns. We got to look smart.
Okay. Anyway, so what I learned and and I studied. So the Manu in Manu Smriti, he distributed society in 4 general categories in per se. So the Brahmins, the people who would be the teachers, and the counselors, and who can be to the level they can teach the society in the shastras, means their own religious textbooks, and how to fight wars, um, you know, and be an administrator helping the king. So that's Brahmin. Then there's the Kshatriya. Kshatriya are the people who be the class who will fight the wars. They will be like security people. They can run the security of the land. So per se, so it will be the warrior side. The warrior, what do you call it? Uh, warriors.
Warriors.
Yeah. And then we got the Vaishnava. Those are the people who would do the trade, who would find way to do the business, and so the society can have the trade and the commerce done, in a great manner. And then the Shudra is the blue collar jobs, the people who do build, carpenters, the people who will build things, the masons, the electricians, and we name it, farmers, anything with blue collar jobs. So societies were distributed in 4 different things. Why did it need to be distributed in 4 things? That's the question. And it shows it. I mean, it's explained in a way that most of the time when a person or human being given 2 or more powers to one individual, you start becoming like the master, or even close to like he's a godly figure. Because let's see, if out of the 4 things, let's see the king is Kshatriya, and if he get the money and he has the power, and if he get on top of it, getting the education too, administration side skills too, then he's going to start ruling, and he could be a fascist. He can create a fascism. He can create a society that we all go under him, and he will be very undemocratic, and he could be a dictator. So these varnas are distributed in a way that all 4 different people means, like, for example, if I'm a teacher, if I'm a Brahmin and I'm teaching, my son doesn't necessarily has to become a teacher. It was not based on the birth. It was based on the karma. What are you good at? Like, for example, I'm a teacher, I'm a Brahmin, but my son is a courageous guy, and he wants to learn the war games, or learn the war tactics. He can be a Kshatriya, or vice versa. Or I'm a Kshatriya who wants to be Brahmin. Or if I'm a Kshatriya, my son wants to be, or my daughter wants to be a great farmer, or he knows the way to farm things better than anybody else. So to cut it short, it was not birth based. It was not birth based. So did you get the fact check on that?
I don't know that I've got something else here, but that's gonna be. Oh, but to go on this, early in my life, my dad was super Indian. He was like very like doctor, lawyer, dentist. But as I grew older, and like you said, I think he realized who I was trying to become as a person, maybe, or like he definitely eased off in a good way, not like a lazy way. He's always been like a very hard-nosed dad. I mean, still to this day, we have a lot of different conversations about what my future entails and whatnot, but he's actually not the regular Indian that most people like stereotype, which is like, I mean, the stereotype is actually fairly true. I mean, most of his friends' children are like in college studying to be doctors. This like it's like a linear, like everything's so linear. But I mean, good or for bad. I mean, I think it's helped me out. Is that he's never he tried it with me, and I guess he realized that wasn't for me. And like you said, whatever he's preaching is true to me. Is that I don't know. It wasn't like just because I was born that I had to be something or another thing or whatever. It was up to me, which is cool. But today, we're going to do current news now. And this actually happens to be relative to India and Delhi, in to be exact. There is going to be a ban on ACs
Really?
Yeah.
Wow, that's funny.
So
Why the ban?
So the ban is going to be, it's called HFCs, which are known as hydrofluorocarbons, which is a source of like greenhouse. It's depleting the ozone of the air or something.
Mm-hmm.
And because there's just so many people concentrated in the Delhi city and whatnot, it's just it's just destroying the ozone or something. So last year in May, it got up to 117 degrees Fahrenheit. I don't know what that is Celsius. What is that, like 90 Celsius? 80 Celsius?
No, not Celsius.
I don't know.
It's
Celsius.
probably close to 48, 46 or 48.
Oh, I was thinking kilometers to miles.
Yeah, no, come on.
But anyways,
it's like a boiling point, man.
that's the boiling point.
Yeah,
But yeah, that's pretty crazy, right?
Yeah, it's 48 is big, but I mean, we can.
That's bad. Imagine that. Imagine not having an AC at all in Delhi. Look at these little places right here, like these kind of apartments.
Wow.
That's unbelievable. I don't know how would you live?
So how are they gonna actually
Stay cold.
No. How are they gonna control? How are they gonna actually stop it?
It's gonna be illegal. It's just illegal. What do you
gonna
mean?
go up there and start?
If you have one of these, like what I'm looking at is a picture of the apartment district, like the apartment buildings in Delhi. All these units are like the big box ones, the ones you put out of a window or
window
outside.
units.
I mean, you can see that it's an obvious thing. If you have that, I'm guessing that's a big no-no.
Yeah.
It's being pushed. It can be, as of this weekend, illegal.
Wow.
From what I understand, that's on the New York Times.
We should follow up on the story on that.
Yeah. So
I don't know if
next week we'll look at it again. But going into some more news, we want to touch about. This could be boring for some people, but me and my father heavily enjoy cricket. It's something we watched daily. But in news as of 2 days ago, 2 days ago, India completely clean swept New Zealand.
Yeah.
And it was a really interesting test to watch. So he's old generation, I'm new generation. I like T20 cricket. I love it. I think it's only helping the game. I think he obviously feels the same way. But test match cricket holds a very warm place in a lot of old folks, like old cricket's heart, because it's the epitome of the gentleman cricket. They have the lunch, they have the tea,
the real
test.
It's a whole
That's
thing. That's a test match, mean the real test of skills.
No, but it's a gentleman. You have lunch, you have tea.
Yeah, beside the point.
People would go out in Britain, during the old times, and literally have lunch and watch the game as they're eating, and it was like a thing. It was an attraction. So I'm one of the people that kind of falling off test match cricket. It's kind of getting boring for me. It's hard to watch.
But let me add on this that everywhere in the world actually test cricket is diminishing, as far as not diminishing in a way that people really doesn't
live watching.
And they don't support a live watching. I mean, they don't go to the big stadiums where the 50,000s and thousands.
I mean,
people
India
watching.
was. For every day of every test,
yes,
at every location.
I'll tell you why. Because the reason is that
no, I think so.
The Board of Cricket Control of India, the BCCI made sure that all the test centers gonna be moved to smaller cities. Means not the metropolitan where all people work and everything. They don't have time to go watch test cricket. Yeah. So this last one was an indoor. And
so it's his first game in indoor, right?
I don't know.
Test match. It was. They're saying it in the.
So I mean, the smaller centers, relatively smaller centers. I mean, when it's gonna start.
So from what I see, like I mentioned, what we got cut out again is that the Indian style of Virat Kohli's captaincy, has brought a very new spin to Test match cricket, which is really amazing to watch. I think maybe it's because I'm a youth and I like quick and I like ODI, and even ODI is getting boring for me. I can only watch highlights. But I watch the entire test match every day, every minute of it.
Why?
Because it was like a very aggressive. It was such a fun way to see somebody play. They go out to a huge lead. I think they scored 500, in excess of 500 runs.
Yeah.
They put New Zealand to the test, bowl them out for 299. Then they say, all right, we got 1 day. Let's get as many runs as we can in 1 day. And they got, 239 for 3. They did great, which was excellent. And then they had 2 days. 2 days to bowl the entire team out, the opposition, which is good to see because usually Test cricket is like 1.5 sessions batting, 1.5 sessions batting, 1.5 sessions batting, drawn, and that's kind of boring. I don't like there to be a tie.
Yeah, actually, we can probably bore our Western audience with this cricket talk, but
Cricket,
just
get into it. It's very
just quick note in there are India. Indian cricketers are probably one of the most highly paid athletes, and the current captain, which is a Test captain, is I think very thorough professional, very very regimented guy, works on his stamina and his workout, regime is amazing. That's what they talk about, and I think he's very successful what he does, and he has great temperament to be a captain, to leader of the team. I think that's we closes on that, and I think we should talk about American politics a little bit. And
no politics, no politics.
No, not politics in general. We're just saying that
we're not going to talk about any politics ever on this podcast because 2 reasons. This is the big reason number 1. No one will ever agree completely with everything we have to say. That's 1. 2, there's no reason in dividing an audience. Right? I think we're all friends. I won't say anything. I was going to say something, I don't even want to say it. I don't want to divide an audience for no reason.
Okay, okay, forget about politics. Can we talk about the two at least the 2 theories, the liberalism and conservatism?
No.
Can we talk about that at least? Because it's a worldwide phenomenon.
No.
It can worldwide. I mean, there's nothing to do with what party you're going to be.
If you guys want a very super debate heavy, and then the comments will be like lots of hate, different people. Oh, you're wrong. You're right. Thrashing at it. That's not what we want. We're very spiritual. I'm a very kind-hearted person. I'm never malicious. This gentleman here is very kind. Never been malicious. And for that reason, I don't want to condone or.
So it mean okay?
I don't want to create an environment that pushes forward.
I understand where you're coming from, but it means that So it means that you have the same. You have the same feeling that if we talk about not generally politics, we talk about what in the world's going on.
Anything that's contrarian. I don't want to talk about anything that's too contrarian. This podcast is going to have a lot of really heavy, egotistical opinions from both of us. Because I think I'm always right and he thinks he's always right. So you guys will definitely get those debates. There'll be different times. Again, this is just our first one.
Then how we gotta give them, the audience, to ponder, asking question, finding.
We can ask some questions. We just won't answer the question.
No. I mean the point. How they would ponder if it's gonna be just fluid. Just we have to. Somebody has to correct us, and somebody has to question us. Somebody has to put their comments on that.
That's okay, but
I mean, I'm not talking. I will not say that. Okay, listen, because you are liberal or conservative, you're wrong or right. I'm not talking about that. There's nothing to do with putting people in slots and telling me you're wrong or you're right or or wrong. What I'm trying to say is, no matter what ideology you have, you follow that. I mean, that's great. Yeah. Because there's a reason you're following, because you really.
That's a good answer.
Yeah, I mean, really good about it.
All I'm saying,
especially I take it my because what I feel, I'm a spiritual person, because I always say that only Hindus can do that, because I even if I'm non-practicing Hindu and such, because you can take me to mosque, you can take me to church, you can take me to the monastery or Buddhist temple or anywhere else or synagogue. I don't care, because it doesn't really matter. My connection is to my ultimate God, and it comes in any form. Doesn't really matter. So if it makes you, I believe in open architecture. So I don't have a one God, one book, and one particular way of thinking that's the only way you can get the ultimate truth. People have several ways to reach to their ultimate peace. So it applies on anybody who can be liberal or or conservative. So it doesn't really matter. It's just about talking point. what happened in the last 150 years in the world? People, we've seen from fascism, like which is in Germany, with where Hitler was there, extreme. We've seen the communism, we see the Marxism, we the democratism, we need conservatism, you know, we the liberalism, progressive, whatever. I mean, there's no such. These are all human ideas.
Mhm.
These are all human, you know, ideologies which created all this form of governance or putting the society to some extent to show that that's the best way to do that. So at certain times it did well, certain times it did not do well. Sometimes it got too extreme and it became really crazy and people start killing them, you know, each other because they look different or they follow different ideologies.
But the most important thing is I just don't want to breed, like I don't want to make a breeding ground for sour comments or sour attitudes towards this podcast because I think we're...
Why would they do it?
Because there will always be somebody that disagrees and there will always be somebody that agrees.
I'm not, because they will do that because if I do either or.
That's right, exactly.
I'm not saying, I'm putting it forward to them to explain it or even you know, even show us, you know, what is right or what's wrong, why they think it's right or what is, you know, it's not right. So I'm just putting that thing. I'm just opening my cards and saying, put it on the table. It's part of the thing. It's gonna stay. It's not like we gonna leave them on the side and we can say no. We not part of this. We're not part of this. We just like walking dead people. We're not. We have emotions. We have ideas. Don't we?
We do.
Okay, so
we're gonna share a lot of the ideas. I'm just saying the only one I don't want to touch on is politics, or at least not until the whole thing is over. That's fair, right?
Or you mean talking about
American politics?
Okay, can we talk about world politics?
Yeah, later on. This is episode 1.
Okay.
Yeah.
So you know everything. So it's like a happy ending, very very good movie, a good movie. That's kind of podcast today. So there's nothing controversial.
No. There's a lot of stuff that we're going to talk about. I mean, the Caste, the Varna system. That's something very controversial. Different people see it as different ways. Like, I don't think you're the dirt poor of the dirt poor. So that person might have a different view or outlook as to how they experienced it. And like, you know, the people that were treated like leopards. Yeah. You know, well, we don't have those people here, so that's a controversial issue. I think we touched base on.
No. Actually, to further adding on the Varna system. Actually, I am. I don't know if you know that because I follow up a lot of on a lot of Indian newspaper media and television and all the news from India, a lot. So there was like a year ago, 6 months ago, there was an intolerance debate about India. People are very intolerant and this and that kind of thing, right? But when I went with Chandani, with my daughter, last year to India, my problem with India is the most, and I get really upset. I do not buy any of that system when people have become so numb and they so you know, what's the word for that? They don't care about others. What do you call this? They're too unattached. They're emotionally so unattached with the other people, of the poverty people who are very poor, and I hate that part. Like for example, if somebody is driving me, like I was driven, I chauffeured by our driver. For 7 days he was with me. I had a great conversation with him all day because I learned so many things from him. He has so much things to talk about.
I think it's just being ignorant if you're closed-minded to.
No,
I know, but I'm saying that's people just being ignorant. If you do not believe everyone in any, you have to know that every altercation, every experience you share in your life with another person, there's some knowledge to gain. If you have a bad experience or good experience, there will always be.
I know. But what I'm
I
trying
know
to say,
you're
but
saying
the
that
problem
some
is
people are so ignorant
no,
they don't.
no, most of them, they have a problem. I'm saying that which is upper middle class or upper class would not. I mean, they think it's like they're like those people are dirt. I mean, they're like nobody. They will not appreciate what these people do for them day in day out because those people who are rich and they are, you know, they did well in their life, they're educated, but their minds is so uh, minuscule. I mean, this very bad that they can't even. The kids are raised by their workers, their helpers, the house helpers,
Oh yeah.
and the ladies all day, man, and how they treat them. It bothers me.
It's like
And
true.
and okay, so I to the people out there, especially my friends, my Indian friends back in India, and
Well, we don't
the
want to.
people
We're not
watching.
calling anybody out. This is this. The last thing we want to cause is uproar in between the family. It'd be one thing to be somebody didn't know, but somebody did know.
Can I ask? I can just beg. Can I please? Can I say that? Please, please, folks. India is the frontier of new world. India is the guiding force. What you guys live in a treasure, a spirituality. Please show that. I can tell you, you know what? Wake up in the morning, just call the person who works for you. Just sit with him for 5 minutes. Ask him the questions. How's your son or daughter is doing? I mean, and thank him just like that. He say, I appreciate what you did for me today.
Thank you.
And doing for me. I beg you, I really honestly feel that those are the people who are gonna bless you, and you know, your day is gonna be amazing.
No, listen.
Trust me.
Going on to the story, actually, something that ties into this well is there's a lot of people that preach but do not practice. I believe in this world, a lot of people.
Most of them.
There's a lot of people who preach something, and you'll never see them like practice what they preach. And so to go into detail now. About 2 years ago, 1 year ago, I was actually driving. That's actually been more than a year.
Where
About a year and a half ago, I was driving to work, and I saw a young. He's actually not.
oh
young.
yeah, that's amazing.
I saw a gentleman who was actually homeless. It was an African American gentleman. I'll leave it at that. I don't want to get too in depth for his privacy. He was just had a sign, and he was obviously homeless, and I drove past him, and oddly enough, I've actually been driving past this gentleman for 3 years. During the time I was going to school out in that area, so every day I'd have to get off that freeway, and I'd see him for 3 years. I saw this man, and every day it'd be the same message. He just asked for a job and some help, and it'd never be for just give me some money, or just give me or like money, you know what I mean? Like he seems so genuine. So this time, and I'm selfish for not stopping, within those first 3 years, or maybe I was not in the situation I am. But anyways, I ended up pulling over, and I asked him to come in the car with me, and I don't think he's ever experienced that before. And I was like, hey man, do you want to work? And right away you saw his attitude. He was like, yes. Like, that's really genuinely what he wanted to do was that, he tells me to this day, as a family, as a company, we gave him purpose, is what he tells us. Like, he feels like he has a job, yet he's held accountable. But anyways, so this gentleman being homeless, I brought him, we brought him into the restaurant with us, not knowing who he was or anything. And the end of
I remember I saw him a couple of times. I was walking around. There's some guy, came in, and he was doing little things here and there. And my son, so my son said, "Oh, I hired him, Dad. You don't have to pay for him. I'm gonna pay for my side. I have some." I said, "Okay, fine." And just to long story short, this guy now opens restaurant. He has a key for both restaurants.
So only 2 people have a key, by the way. Me, him, and then him. So 3
and
people.
Of course, one of my cousins have that, but but basically, even my cousin actually give him the key to open a restaurant. So he is he's valued himself in the company that he can be trusted, and at the same time, amount of gratitude he has towards us, or specifically to Kiran, because he made a difference to one person's life. And honestly, I feel that, how thankful he is to him. But at the same time, the joy Kiran has by doing that, I think, is much more than actually he actually giving us the gratitude for that.
Yeah.
So I think by doing that, it made you a better person, made you a much better person who can understand. And he didn't have a place to go, and then we actually provide him the lodging.
Yeah,
and
that's
things like that.
another thing. Of course, he lives with us free of charge. We have an apartment at one of the restaurants that he lives there, obviously, because and that's actually another story. So he had been like in and out of couch hopping, from what I understand. That's what he explained to me. And then remember he came to us and he said, "Last night I slept on the street."
Yeah, it was
my dad was taken back, like this is a real thing. And my dad immediately said, "No, bring your things. You're staying in our home tonight. You're staying in our, we're gonna take care of you." Yeah. And without even a question. And my dad didn't. There was no tags to it. There was no this that. Like he just said.
It was not such a big deal. It just, honestly, we have the place anyway. It doesn't really matter. I didn't do such a big thing. But the point is, when you start investing people generally, you got to.
You'd be surprised what you get back from the money.
Yeah, it's the amount of satisfaction it gets you. There's no word for that, and there's no money you can buy that. And I honestly feel that I think that I probably wouldn't have done it, probably because I'm half blind too. I don't even see things.
He literally
sometimes.
is half blind. It's not.
So
not allowed.
you made a very genuine kind of effort by stopping and by actually starting a conversation and making sure that he understands you, where you're coming from, and things like that. So I think it's a story. It's a good story to talk about.
But going back to the preaching and the practicing thing is that for people that are watching, obviously this is the first episode, but usually the things he preaches is actually what he practices. And I guarantee you, anybody in the same position that we've been so blessed to have, or anybody even lesser position or higher position or whatever the case may be, a lot of people don't take that step. Not that I'm somebody you should follow, like I'm God. Like that's not what I'm saying. It's just like you can learn so much from the people you so often just zoom by.
Yeah, exactly.
You know what I'm saying?
It's the people who are around you actually it's your family, because these are the people you're gonna see day in day out. Like for example, I was in India, like I said, last year, and before we went to India, and I always have an issue with people, the drivers, the people who are helping us, taking the daily routine stuff. And when it comes to the time of lunch and dinner, I would sit with them. I want to eat with them, and I don't want them to be eating. Like for example, in the restaurants, remember?
They would like eat in the car, like they thought that was a thing or something. Like we're a team, like we're together.
Eat together.
We're spending all this time together anyways. So why
how?
We actually visited our drive. We were like one of the first people to visit our driver's house. Remember that?
No, he invited us.
Yeah.
And we went to his house.
And so like nobody does that. That's odd. That's so weird.
It's so weird, and we
spent so much time.
And I think,
stress it.
Especially this podcast, please. I want to make sure. I don't know how. Generally, I'm thinking like that. I probably would have been in India. Probably would do the same thing. It's something I don't think we have any malicious intent as such that we do that. I don't think we have malicious intent. I'm generally speaking, I think we just get untouched and we get numb by the
That's a good word. I think numb. Out of all the words you use, definitely numb.
We numb because we don't see it.
Yeah.
We don't have malicious intent.
Especially in Los Angeles, like every other person is homeless. And don't think that like it was like a one-trick wonder. I mean, we try to help as many people as we can. I can go on for it would be like 4 podcasts long for the amount of things my dad has done for his employees or for our family members that he's never got anything back for.
No,
but that's nothing. I'm not have to discuss that. What I'm saying is, it's very true. People are very, very numb to the fact that people have the ability and are still numb.
Yeah,
that's a big word. Also, is the ability.
Please make a difference in humans being life. One a day. Just hold somebody from hand, sit them and give them like 2 minutes every time, and says, okay, listen, you know what? All they want to just listen to you, and they want to share either one thing with you. There may be something really silly, but let me tell you, amount of satisfaction you're gonna have for the whole day. Your day is gonna be made just because you spent 2 minutes of your time. And I mean, let me tell you, look into a person's eyes. His eyes gonna be so glowing. Right?
It's gonna shut off in 1 minute.
Oh gosh. Okay. I think we said it enough about it. I think.
Yeah. I think that'll do it for the first podcast, guys.
Yeah.
Again, usually it's going to be more funny than this, and sometimes it'll be more serious than this.
Okay. But it's going to be always 1.5 Indians.
It's going to be 1.5 Indians, definitely.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, we'd like to get more guests on the show in the future.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, depending on if this actually goes anywhere, we'd love to get guests.
But well, I was feeling that when he's going to have his kid, what is going to be? That's something. That's something.
1.75 Indians.
That's bad. Oh, there's a possibility you might even marry Indian girl. Who knows? There's a possibility. I mean, then what it becomes? I'm just hypothetically speaking. I just don't know.
Hypothetically.
What is a 1.5? I don't know. What becomes? Then again 1.5?
No. It's 0.75.
What are you talking about?
0.75.
How?
Full Indian, half Indian.
It becomes what?
Full Indian
and
half Indian
becomes
equals 0.75.
Oh wow.
Because there's still a quarter Latino.
Okay.
Duh.
Okay. So well, 1.5 Indian can
Signing
be
out.
anything.
Thank you guys for watching again. Make sure to click the like button, subscribe below, and I don't know how frequently we're gonna post this. This could be like once a week, or maybe twice a week, or maybe we post Mondays and Friday. We don't really know at this point. But again, make sure to click the follow button below. Subscribe to the social medias that we'll have, and
like us.
If you guys please comment. That's the whole point of this podcast, is to get your feedback.
And ask us what you do. We should do the trailer reviews and Indian movie trailer reviews.
That's something he wanted to do. Don't know if we're gonna do that, but it won't just be a podcast.
That'd be cool.
We'll have more sports themed or more comical things. We'll do movie reviews. We'll do a lot of things.
Okay.
We'll even do Indian people unboxings. We'll unbox Indian stuff. You never know.
Unboxing? I don't know what's the meaning.
Unboxing, like you open something up that you ordered.
Okay. Oh, I don't know about that. Okay, how it was fixed. Signing off. Okay, thanks.
Don't never say signing off. That sounds so whack.
Signing off. Okay.
Signing off. I'm signing out.
Okay, how do you say that? I don't know what's the word for that.
Jesus Christ! I'm signing out. Let me.
No, what is the word for that? Chandni just passing by. Okay, Chandni. Yeah.
She's staying in the background.
Okay. So what are we doing? Oh, I should say take care. Bye.
Say take care.
You guys take care. Subscribe below.
Like the video.
Like the video. Like the video. Do the comments.
Yeah, good. He's actually catching up to it.
Do the comments, and love us, 1.5 Indian, and take care of yourself.
Yes. Hopefully you guys learned a little bit from today's podcast.
And others. Take care of yourself and others around you.
Yeah, that's fair. That's a good outro. That was a good episode 1. Thank you guys again. Signing out, logging out. Who does it?